I'm a normal guy and I've just bought and refurbished another investment property. If I can do this, you can too. I don't monetize these videos. I make these videos to inspire you. So stop making excuses, do as I do, and let's all improve our finances together.
For my previous buy-to-let property, I actually broke down the shortlisting process, the buying process, the refurb process, the tenanting process, all in separate videos, and there's a playlist that I've linked in the description of this video for that particular property. But since then I bought another property, and that's what this video shall focus on. So to begin with, let's go back in time to June 2022. So the first thing I did was on Rightmove, I shortlisted some properties in the northeast England. This involves me looking for properties in the area that I wanted. So these included Darlington, Stockton, Thornaby, and even Middlesbrough. I was also looking for other areas close to Darlington. And what I would do is I would take the information from Rightmove, use those figures to put into my spreadsheet to calculate the return on investment. I ran the calculations on probably maybe 30, 40 properties, and I created a shortlist of about 4 or 5 properties to be viewed. I then contacted the agents, arranged viewings with them, and headed out to northeast of England. Now, 2 of the properties on the shortlist were in Darlington. That's an area that I know well, and I already own 2 properties there. And 2 of the properties were in Stockton, which is a small town roughly 10 miles away from Darlington. I already own a property in nearby Thornaby, which is adjacent to Stockton, but I don't own a property in Stockton itself. So when I went over to the northeast of England, because I live in London, when I travelled over to the northeast of England, my plan was to scout around Stockton town centre before I did the viewing to see whether or not this was an area worth buying in. Bear in mind that this was the first time in my life that I'd stepped foot in Stockton. I did the viewing of the town, so the reconnaissance, if you will, and I uploaded a video, and there's a link to that reconnaissance trip in the description of this video. You'll see me walking around the town centre, checking out the shops. When I did the viewings, I wanted to see how long it takes me to walk from the town centre to the properties, but also the train station. These are the key things that I'm looking at. And also, I want to get an overall vibe of the place. Is it a rough area? Is it a nice area? Is it a quiet area? Are there people hanging out on the streets doing nothing? Are there vagrants hanging around? Are the shops open, or have they all closed down? Are there any boarded up properties, etc.? So these are things that I'm looking at. Now, 3 of the properties viewed were no good. One of them was a former cannabis factory. This was in Stockton, and it needed about £50,000 spent on it, and I wasn't really interested in going down that route. Another property, this was in Darlington, also had a very high refurb budget, which financially didn't really make the figures pan out. And another property in Darlington was located on a street which is not really ideal. That leaves us with one other property. This was in Stockton, which you are now seeing. This video is of the first viewing that I did. You'll also get to see the street that this property is located in. It's very quiet and is roughly a 6-minute walk to the town centre and about 5 minutes from Stockton train station. The other positive about this property is that it has a good energy performance rating of a C, which in 2 years will become a requirement to rent out any particular property. After viewing this property, I called the agent and discussed the sort of price they were actually aiming for. I wanted to pump the agent for information before I actually made the offer. And what the agent said was that the seller really was looking for £70,000. That's what they were aiming for. After this, I told the agent that I'd send an email in with my offer in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And I then emailed my offer, which was accepted. The agreed price was £66,000. So the property was in the market for £70,000 or more. The agent said they really want £70,000, but we made a deal on £66,000. This offer was made in mid-June and I got the keys to the property 5 months later. So for those of you who want to buy rental properties, please do bear in mind that it can take roughly 3 to 6 months to acquire a property. This particular purchase took 5 months. My previous property took 6 months to acquire. So what was it that I liked about this property more than the others? It's got a good EPC rating. The refurb costs were going to be low because the property is already in good condition. There were no damp issues that I had to deal with. The reason why I talk about damp is that damp can usually be quite expensive, and it can be quite unpredictable. For example, if you have a broken door, you can replace that. You can say, right, a broken door costs roughly £100 to replace. But with damp, it doesn't work that way. There are many kinds of damp. You can get rising damp, penetrating damp, damp that might come from the roof, damp that can come from next door, and the amount of solutions that are available also vary. But in a nutshell, I just prefer not to deal with a property that has damp issues. Also, the street was very quiet, roughly 5 minutes away from the nearest train station, about 6-7 minutes away from the town centre where all the shops are. I also checked to see if there were other properties listed for rent which were sticking on the market, and there weren't many. But chances are that when this comes on the rental market, it'll go quickly. So all in all, this property ticked all my boxes, and I was happy to make an offer and try and make a deal on this. This brings us to November 2022, which is when I got the keys to the property. By the end of November, the refurbishment had begun. I had already put a contractor in place and he started his work. And you can see in the video here, which shows what the property looked like during the refurb works. It looks a bit messy, which is to be expected. For the time being, that's the end of this video. Stay tuned for the next part of this video, where I show you the completed refurbishment, the rent that we picked up from the tenants, and I'll go through the financial figures as well. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel and that you click the notification bell so that you don't miss the next part of this video. I'll see you soon.